Hello and welcome to an exclusive conversation with the New York Young Republican Club. My name is MarioNicoletto, your host and campaigns chairman of the campaigns committee for the New York Young Republican Club. With me, we have our president, Stefano Forte. How are you?
Pleasure to be on.
Also, I had to write down the pronunciation, I'm being honest. Lorenzo Caccialupi.
Caccialupi,
Do I got
yes,
that?
Caccialupi.
Beautiful. How are you, man?
All good. Thank you for having me.
I've heard that you're an activist and something of a connoisseur of wolf hunting. Is that true?
Wolf Hunter is my surname.
I love it.
That's right. In Italy is Caccialupi in Italian.
Caccialupi.
Why are you LARPing like you're not Italian?
I am half Italian, but I'm very Americanized.
You're very Americanized.
One could make the argument, yes.
Caccialupi. You have to sing it.
Caccialupi.
Caccialupi.
There we go.
Why are we? All right. A lot's in the news, as you two both know, but Stefano, I wanted to give you the floor first.
Yes, absolutely. I'm here to make an exclusive announcement about our White Cross project. Our first ambassador for the project, here with us today, Lorenzo Caccialupi.
Thank you.
Lorenzo, talk to us a little bit about this project and why you decided to join on.
First of all, it is an honor to be an ambassador for this product. First of all, it's an honor to be an ambassador for this project. The reason why I decided to take part of it is that we cannot look the other way. In South Africa, white people, white farmers are being persecuted and killed because of their skin color. There are hundreds of race laws against white people, and we cannot tolerate that. The media have been lying to you about the situation in South Africa, and this cannot continue. We have many people criticizing us, doing fake press, saying that what we are exposing is not real, but when you go on a vacation to South Africa and you go south to surf, of course you're gonna be safe. Of course you're gonna be feeling safe because you go in the richest side of South Africa, in the touristy spot. Of course, it must look like everything is fine. But if you go around like we did, because we went to Pretoria, we went to Johannesburg, they went to Orania, a city that is being built through the sweat and fatigue of white men, you would know that white people are being persecuted. You would know that the police is corrupted. Because if it weren't for our armed security, I don't know what would have happened to us. You would know that if you were to walk in the center of Pretoria as a white man, you'd be targeted and attacked because we had to flee away from there because they literally wanted to kidnap us. So that's why we are doing this.
Yeah, there's so much to talk about when it comes to the farm murders in South Africa. When we went and we saw the White Cross monument ourselves, the monument that they claim does not exist, and we did a video down there where I said I'm at the monument that does not exist. We went live as we approached the White Cross monument. It struck all of us, not only to see a physical manifestation of the grief of so many people in South Africa, but also to hear the stories of survivors of farm attacks. It truly was, it was sad. There was not a dry eye in the place by the time we were done hearing about these attacks. Lorenzo, why do you think the media keeps lying about this? Why do you think the media wants to hide this? Because it's obvious that it's happening. Our great president, President Donald J. Trump, has exposed this in the Oval Office with Cyril Ramaphosa. Why do you think the media keeps lying to people about what's happening in South Africa?
The media keep lies to the people because they have to promote their agenda, their anti-white agenda. The media are crooked, and the only reason why they choose not to cover it is that the victims are white. So it doesn't fit their anti-white agenda. There are two types of people. The ones that are evil, they know what they're doing. They know that they are deceiving people. They know that what they're talking about is fake. And then instead there are the sheep, the so-called brainwashed people, who don't know what the hell is going on. And they're being brainwashed by these evil people who are promoting their agenda. So Stefano is very it's very complicated what we are doing, but we can get through it.
They were so angry that we were exposing them in South Africa that the EEF, the Economic Freedom Fighters, the EFF, excuse me, the Economic Freedom Fighters, they put out a statement essentially calling for my deportation out of the country, calling for the New York Young Republican Club's deportation out of the country. It was the only deportation we don't support. I wonder why they're so afraid about this. And I think I have an answer. The reason why is because they know it will destroy the narrative. The narrative that they have is that only white people can be oppressors. But the truth of the matter is that they are the majority in South Africa, and they have decided to target this group, the Afrikaners, who is a minority in this country. Like you said, there are more race laws on the books now than ever before. And when you have the head of a major party, I'm forgetting his name, but it'll come to me at a certain point. But the head of a Julius Malema, when you have Julius Malema who is chanting, "Kill the Boer, kill the farmer," people are taking that seriously. If you read Dr. Ernst's book, which I've had the pleasure of reading, so should you, "Kill the Boer," there are countless accounts of people being targeted simply because of the color of their skin, simply because they own a farm. It needs to stop, and I think that these white crosses are going to shock the American consciousness when they see it. When they see in Washington, D.C., what we are going to bring, these 3,000 white crosses, I think it will shock them. So, Lorenzo, you have a very big following, right? We need to blast this out so your followers can know about this. There's two things that you could do to help support us. One, you could sponsor a cross. It's only $15 to help us to bring these white crosses down to Washington, D.C. And then number two, you could sign our petition that has a simple plea. We want a special envoy for the Afrikaners and other minority groups in South Africa so we can have an American voice investigating firsthand what is going on. We need this. It will help the Afrikaners tremendously because like you saw down there, they don't want to leave. They want to stay. They want to stay in their homes. They want to have a piece of land for themselves. Talk a little bit about the heart that these people have. Talk a little bit about how courageous they are for wanting to stay and fight.
We talked while we were in South Africa with a community made out of farmers community. These people are left completely by themselves. The police does not help them at all. They are not helped. They are left by themselves by the police. And I've talked, this is maybe one of the most sad story I've heard, with an 18-year-old guy that fought for his life against an intruder, a black intruder, who entered inside his property and the property of his family with guns, with the only scope of stealing and kill him and his family. At 18-year-old, you shouldn't worry about carrying a gun and protect your life by a monster. At 18-year-old, you should be finishing high school. You should go out with your friends. You shouldn't lie. You shouldn't fight for life or death. And this is the reality that many people are living every day in South Africa. We are right now in New York City, and I'm glad to be here with Stefano and this group. While I was at the airport of Denver, Colorado, I was about to get on the plane, and I was checking in my bag. I meet this guy. He tells me, I tell him, "Oh, I'm from Italy." He tells me, "I'm from South Africa." I look at him in the eyes and I said, "I know everything. I know what's happening. I know what ANC is doing. I know what EFF is doing. I know that they want to kill. I know they are persecuting your people. I know that they are killing them." His eyes were wet. He got emotional. He said, "No one is believing me. People think I'm crazy when I tell what's happening to South Africa." So this is the reality. White people are being targeted. White farmers are being persecuted and killed. We heard dozens and dozens of stories of survivors, people who were victims of this farm attack, people who had their wife or their husband killed, people who had their wife raped in front of them while they were first watching. Now, in what type of country, in what type of world does this happen? This doesn't happen. This shouldn't be happening in the first place. In Europe, in the US, this thing don't happen. I mean, they're starting to happen because of mass migration. But if we don't do something, this is gonna come to our countries as well. And that's why it is very important to cover this topic. And that's why it's very important to show solidarity to these people that are suffering daily because of their skin color. White people are the most persecuted race, and I'm talking about skin color, on earth. We are all the same here. I don't make distinction. Black, white, yellow, pink. I don't care the color of your skin. We have to respect each other. Racism is always wrong. So you don't come with the absurdity of Black Lives Matter, because all lives matter. So enough is enough. We are here, and we are here to make a change.
Yeah, and you touched on something very important, which is that people are going to ask the question, well, why should we care? Who cares what's going on in South Africa? We need to do this, we need to do that. And I made the argument while we were there that South Africa is the model. South Africa is what they want the entire West to become. If you talk to Zoran Mamdani, our mayor, he says that South Africa is the model. So we went down there ourselves to see ourselves what his so-called model is. And what we saw were people being persecuted because of the color of their skin. More race laws on the books now than during the height of apartheid against white people in South Africa. So these people are our civilizational kin. They are a Western people that we need to care about. And this is the last thing that we'll talk about this. Why should the West care about what's going on in South Africa? Because my opinion is they're our civilizational kin. We need to support them because if it can happen there, it can happen here. We need to stop it there so that it is not imported here. And I said this line over and over and over. The United States may have created woke, but South Africa perfected it, right? So talk to us about why you think we should care about this issue.
We should care about this issue because we are next, Stefano.
Yes.
When we were walking around the street of Pretoria, when we were walking around the street of Johannesburg, where we got nearly kidnapped, because we are white, we got nearly kidnapped, I saw a similarity of some streets in South Africa with some streets in Italy, with some streets in the US, with some streets in Brussels, where the European Parliament is, by the way, for people who don't know, European Union is destroying our country, but that's another matter. If we don't act, if we don't show our support now, this is going to come against us. Yeah. Because we are seeing right now a shift inside our own countries. We are seeing right now that if you are a white man and something bad happens to you by a migrant, you cannot say it because you're going to be called a racist for speaking out. We have seen in the streets of Johannesburg, in the street of Pretoria, people who hated us. And we are importing through illegal migration, because our government, of course, are complicit. The leftist government, the woke people are complicit of this. We are importing inside our countries people who hate us. People who don't hate us only because of our skin color. We are importing inside our countries people who hate us because of our culture and want to destroy it. And now we're going to talk about this because we have saw the case of Henry Novak. He got killed because of his skin color and the cop arrested him under an accusation of racism. That's what's happening in our country. It's not far from what's happening in South Africa. If we wait 15 years, it's going to happen to our children.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think this is a perfect segue for the next thing that we're going to be talking about, Mario. If you want to bring up some of the stuff that you have.
Absolutely, there is through mass migration and through, I would argue, replacement by addition. That's my opinion and mine only. The R word is happening all across Europe and the United States, and no, I don't mean retarded. I mean rape. Today, I'm going through this here, and it's baffling for me to even read it. Rape gang inquiry claims grooming gangs operated in 149 UK local authority areas. Lorenzo, I know you have some very strong feelings about this.
Over 250 100,000 girls,
Yeah.
over 250,000, a quarter of a million underage girls, and those are only the ones we know about, have been raped by Muslim grooming gangs.
Yep.
People are saying, no, you cannot say Muslim grooming gangs. If they are Muslim grooming gangs, what has happened, a fact, cannot be racism, because 87 to 95% of offenders, of these rapists, they were Muslims.
Yep.
A report has been published, and I thank Restore for that, I thank Reform for that. A report has been published of over 200 pages where there are all people who survived talking about what happened. The police is complicit. The social service were complicit. We have even the testimonial of this girl saying the police brought this kid to them and told them, have fun. We have hundreds of testimonials. Underage girl being abused by dozens of men at the same time. Underage girl being abused and then killed. Underage girl being threatened with, after I'm done raping you, you're gonna be eaten by pigs. Underage girl being mocked while raped for wearing the cross. Underage girl being exposed, being victims of the worst torture you would ever imagine. Underage girl being breaded with the hem of Muhammad, for saying, this is our property now. And then they would have been raped again and again. And these people, thousands of people, are walking among us. They're walking among British people. When Keir Starmer was, now I don't remember the name, but when Keir Starmer was...
It was essentially the Attorney General.
Exactly.
It was essentially the Attorney General.
When he was responsible, he let walk free inside the street, in the street of London, in the street of England, 13,000 suspects of gang rapes and pedophiles. Keir Starmer is complicit. Keir Starmer should resign. He should be in prison for high treason towards his country and toward his own people. He's as guilty as them, maybe even more, for covering this up. All the elite is corrupt in the UK. We have the head of the mayor of conquered Londistan, the Sadiq Khan. I cannot even pronounce his name because surely this guy is not British. This guy is not British. He's a shame for the British country. This guy, when he was asked about the grooming gangs, and this is something, I know it, I'm from Italy, you know you're from the US, you know you're from the US, everyone knows about grooming gangs. When he was asked, he said, what are you talking about? Yeah, for sure, we have some... He was asked this question again and again, and he was denying the existence of grooming gangs. What type of evil person you must be to cover up the existence of grooming gangs?
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it is disgusting. And let me just add this here, is that we need to come to a conclusion as a civilization that Muslims are incompatible with Western civilization. That's the bottom line. We cannot keep importing millions of Muslims into our country. When you see these grooming gangs, this did not happen by accident. Like Lorenzo said, the authorities are complicit in this. Keir Starmer should be spending the rest of his life in a jail cell for the travesty that this is. And you know who the number one victim of mass migration is? The number one victim is the ones who are the most vulnerable amongst us. Children, women who are being raped. If this doesn't end mass migration in the UK, nothing will. Nothing will. So after seeing these stories, women raped by dogs, infants, and the police doing absolutely nothing. And like Lorenzo said, handing them back over and saying, oh, have fun, like it's a joke. It's ridiculous. It's wrong. And Europe really needs to take a hard look at itself and decide right now. The governments of Europe need to decide right now. Are we for Europeans or are we for migrants? Because if you're for migrants, keep doing what you're doing. If you're for Europeans, you change course immediately. Every single one of these people that are involved in these grooming gangs should be chemically castrated and sent back to their country of origin. That's exactly what needs to happen to them. And furthermore, even if they weren't involved and they're in the country illegally, send them back. They need to go back home. They cannot stay here. They will never, ever assimilate into our culture, ever. They need to go back home.
And Stefano, I would like to add something. What makes this history even worse is that fathers, so could be us in a couple of years, fathers, after knowing their kid was being raped, they went to rescue them. It happened multiple times that fathers went to rescue them. They got arrested for rescuing their own kids. Now, what does father has to do after being arrested for rescuing their own kids? No one wanted to report this for avoiding being racist. But do we realize the atrocity? I have no words for this. We have no words for this.
Yeah, in order to save the West, we're gonna have to make some Instagram girls very angry, but that's okay. We have to save our countries, and at the risk of being mean or sounding a certain way or being called racist, we need to call it out as a fact. We need to call it out as a fact. Europe is for Europeans. Europe is Christian. There cannot be assimilation with Muslims that are entering the country. It's not going to happen. And also, this is another thing that I want to bring up. Zoran Mamdani is A-OK bringing up every third world grievance that he may have. When he was talking about the King of England, he was talking about some diamond that he wanted returned back to India, right? He's willing to talk about all of this. Not a peep about the rape gangs. Not a peep about the rape gangs. And why didn't he say a word about this? Because he knows it's going to be egg on his face. He's willing to call out every other group except his own. They can do no wrong. So, look, we're in a very difficult situation, and that's why every time I come back from Europe, I'm happy that the United States is not in as bad of a mess as Europe is. And because we have proper leadership with President Trump, who's actually deporting people, people are self-deporting. There's a way that this is working, but there needs to be an answer for Europe, because right now there is no answer. There is no response. How do they fix this? They need proper leadership, and I hope in the next elections they right this wrong.
Yeah, it's clear Europe is in very dire straits, and I feel as if the only people responsible are not even the migrants. They're not migrants; they're illegal aliens, but the only people responsible for facilitating the process are the same people that trained the police officers that assisted, I would argue, in the death of Henry Novak. And that was our next subject, where I'm sure many of you seen the viral video on X or Instagram or Telegram where Henry Novak says, "I can't breathe, I've been stabbed, I can't breathe, I've been stabbed." And the police officer grins and says, "Sure you have been, mate." We still have stories coming out. And I have a headline here. All it says is Henry Novak murder, what we know so far. Interesting stuff, because I thought that we knew he was murdered by an Islamist who should be deported yesterday. Guys, your thoughts?
Well, he was murdered by a Sikh.
By a Sikh.
Well, they got to go too.
He was murdered by a
Honestly,
Sikh.
sorry, I hate to say it.
He was murdered by a Sikh.
So he was stabbed by a Sikh with one of the ceremony knife. They use a 21 centimeter blade. We have all seen the image. We are all seen. He said, "I can't breathe." But I'm gonna tell you now the worst thing about what happened to Henry Novak. The worst thing that happened to Henry Novak was not being stabbed, but was the reaction of the world to it. Only conservative people had the courage. Only conservative people spoke up about Henry Novak. Keir Starmer the traitor, when the criminal George Floyd died because of fentanyl overdose after the cop did the normal procedure for arresting any criminal, also because here we are talking about a criminal with a long history behind his shoulder.
Held a gun to a pregnant woman's stomach.
When the criminal George Floyd died, Keir Starmer knelt for him, Politicians all over the world knelt for him. In my class, professor told me to do a minute of silence for a criminal who died because of fentanyl overdose who resisted an arrest. For Henry Novak, no one said anything. Inside the European Parliament, inside every parliament, Black Lives Matter, kneeling for them. For Henry Novak, no one said anything. And Henry Novak is just an example, because we have had Irina Tsutruska, killed by that man, and after killing her, he said, I got that white bitch, because Irina was killed because of her skin color. We have an endless list of people being killed because of their skin color, people being killed because they're white. And our government, they don't do anything because they don't promote their anti-white agenda. We have all over Europe, politicians knelt for Henry Novak, even Keir Starmer, all over the world, all over Europe, people knelt for the criminal George Floyd. Even Keir Starmer, that is not even from the US, he knelt for George Floyd. When Henry Novak died, Keir Starmer, not even once, he didn't even say, oh yeah, what happened is horrific. You know what he said? But you cannot use it in your favor to protest. What? Cioè, for him, the biggest problem is that people are protesting for that. Not about the fact that there is a two-tier policing in England and is coming also to our countries now. Henry Novak was killed not only by that bastard, by that criminal who stabbed him. Henry Novak was killed by all these politicians, by all these woke people who decided not to talk about him.
Exactly. And then you have all those Western politicians who are basically worshiping St. Floyd in the time of 2020, 2021. And then at the same time, my man, they ban knives for everybody, except for, I made a mistake, Sikhs, not Muslim Sikhs, where you're able to have a ceremonial blade. And it's like, is that going to fix the problem? Just by allowing one group of people who are known to be very violent and in many cases unintelligent with their knives to be stabbing people?
Well, I'm going to take umbrage with that. Hold on. I'm going to take umbrage with that. I will say that the reaction, I saw a lot of reactions by the Sikh community were very upset.
I'm saying the migrant Sikhs.
No, but even still, there were many. They're typically not violent, right? I've just my own.
We have to break a spear in their favor.
But what I will say is that there was, when they heard about this, they were pissed. Right? They put out plenty of videos saying this does not represent us, to give them the benefit of the doubt over a lot of other things that have happened. I will say that. But the idea of stabbing somebody and then banning the knife is totally ridiculous, right? It's totally ridiculous. I agree with that 110%. This was done because there is a culture in the UK that says that being racist is the ultimate crime. If you are racist, that trumps anything else. So this poor kid is dying there, bleeding out on the ground.
Soaking in his own blood.
Soaking in his own blood. And for the mere hint of perhaps he was racist, the police were willing to handcuff him, would not give him the benefit of the doubt. Right? That I think is the biggest issue here, right? Of course, there's going to be conversations about, do we ban knives? Do we ban this? Here in America, we have guns. Right? We have plenty of guns here in the United States. We're not talking about banning guns. We're not talking about banning knives. Why? Because we want a certain type of migrant, that is a certain type of people that are coming into the country. Right now, I would argue that we shouldn't have anybody coming into the country.
Amen.
Right? But the idea that we're going to start banning things and then everyone's going to be peaceful, everyone's going to find a way to find a knife, everyone's going to find a way to find a gun. Right? It's just what it is. So in the case of Henry Novak, It is the culture that the British government has created where being a racist is the ultimate sin. Nothing else trumps that, right? So they wouldn't even give one of their own the benefit of the doubt, an Englishman, the benefit of the doubt, right? Well, no, yeah, but anyway.
But they've admitted it, Stefano.
Yeah,
they've admitted it. Police has been trained with having a different approach with migrants. And I want to break a spear in favor of the Sikh community. I have a really dear friend of mine. He's a Sikh man. Now we're going to put it somewhere, his restaurant. He has a restaurant in London, and he's being persecuted by the Muslim community because he is showing a sign. And in these signs, there is simply written, I'm proudly not serving halal meat. And he is being assaulted by Muslims for this sign. Muslims have all over the city store, shops where they only sell halal meat. And since he's not selling it and he wrote a sign about it, his shop is being targeted, raided, destroyed, vandalized by Muslim people. And here again, he is the one who is being arrested for racism, not the other. That's what's happening in England. It's done. This government has failed its people. Years of woke, years of anti-white propaganda, years of an agenda that is destroying the country, has ruined it. And we are seeing it when there are marches in England. They have some of the biggest marches for Unite the Kingdom, where they all wear a British flag. The government is trying to say, those are marches done by far-right activists, far-right agitators. These marches, children go there, family go there, people like this guy, this sick man who proudly waves the British flag, because those are the migrants we want. We want the migrants that come, they embrace our culture, they contribute to our society, they love our country, that are willing to defend their country with their own life. We want this migrant. We don't want the migrant that are here to destroy us, because migration without assimilation, it's invasion. Migration without assimilation, it's invasion. So we don't want those people here. Yeah. We want people who come to our country, respect the law, assimilate to our culture, and are ready to defend it.
And another example of police, as we spoke about before, I don't know if you were here, Steph, another example of police in absolute dereliction of their duty. I think this was yesterday, Lorenzo. Polish activists, they don't mention they were carrying a cross, interestingly enough.
Catholic Polish activists.
Catholic Polish activists beaten by Berlin police at World War II memorial. And if you watch the video, again, on X or Instagram or wherever you find your videos, it's just unnecessarily violent, where the German police are wailing on the Polish activists and beating the crap out of them. And for what reason? Because they were carrying a cross.
You know, I gotta tell you, German police, I would say it's divided. I know people inside the police force in Germany who are conservative guys. They know what they're doing. They know they want to serve the country, and they would never do what these cops, what these. I don't want to say things to offend the cops, but these people do not represent the cops who fight for their country, and the cops who fight to defend their citizen. What we have seen is disgusting. These Polish Catholic people, common people like us, were simply carrying a cross to remember the victims, the Polish victims during Second World War, and they got assaulted, beaten up by the police for carrying a cross. This is what's happening. We Christians people are being persecuted all over around the world. Christianity is the most persecuted religion around the world, and now it's coming also to Europe. Now it's coming also to Europe, in Canada. In Canada now, quoting the Bible is going to be illegal. That's what they're trying to do. In America, in some states, they want to demonize the Bible. They want to say that you are promoting hate speech. So the answer to this is, you want us to stay silent about our religion? We're going to be louder. I'm proud to be Catholic. When I was in last year of high school, I had a professor, who I'm not going to say the name. I raised my hand to ask a question. Before letting me speak, he said, Lorenzo, yes, ask the question, but before, please, remove your clothes. Remove your clothes. It's really disturbing to me. I don't want you to ask the question. I don't want to look at the cross. Please take it away. I thought I was 18-year-old. I thought he was kidding, Stefano. I look at him, I know it's a joke. Okay, so my question is, no. You don't understand. If you don't take off your clothes, you cannot ask the question. So my answer to this communist professor, that I'm not gonna say the name out of respect for the school, not for him, I told him, you know what, professor, I was raised Catholic. I would die for this faith. I would have myself killed rather than deny my faith. My parents are together in an amazing marriage because of this faith. They have kids because of this faith. And you are telling me to remove the cross when you have also students who wear an hijab and you don't tell them to remove it? Fuck off. I walked out of the class. He told me I would have had serious consequences. I came back with the dean of the high school. So this is the message for Christian people: raise your heads. Before coming here in New York, I was in Arizona, Scottsdale. I hiked a mountain with my friend Wesley Scott, and we hiked a mountain, camelback, with a cross on our shoulder. And we planted the cross on top of the mountain. Because Jesus is king, he has to be in the highest point of every city in Italy. In Italy, on top of our mountains, we have cross. The cross of Jesus Christ should be on top of every mountain. And that's why we did that in camelback. We put the cross in camelback to give a signal. And the signal is that we are not going to turn, we are not going to give our back, we're not going to turn the other way for all Christians who are being persecuted around the world. Christians are being persecuted and killed around the world in Nigeria, in Ethiopia, in all the Middle Eastern countries, mostly of the Middle Eastern country because of their faith. In North Africa, they're being persecuted and killed for their religion. Churches are being burned down. And this is coming to our countries. That's what people don't understand. That when you're going to realize that, it's going to be too late.
Yeah.
The Pope today, after visiting, and I'm sorry to say this because I'm Catholic, after visiting the second or the third biggest mosque in the world, he gave a speech saying, we should perhaps be a bit less fearful of Islam. He's saying that, knowing, because I assume he knows, that Christians in Nigeria are being killed every day by Islamist terrorists. Christians are being beaten by Sudanese terrorists. Christians are being killed in big parts of Middle East by terrorists. We are having terrorist attack in Europe almost I'm not saying every week, but every year in the last 10 years, we have had multiple terrorist attacks in Europe connected to illegal mass migration. Europe is dying. Europe, if we don't wake up now, this is going to be the last. This is going to be one of our last speech. We are dying. Europe is dying. You give it 20 years, it's going to be lost if we don't do something now. 2 popes ago, not Francis, Benedict XVI, I believe, he made an amazing speech. He said, the decay of the West. We are hating, I don't know why, people are hating their society. The West people hate themselves. That was a respectable pope. Not a pope that tells us to be less fearful of Islam when we are dying. Not a pope that tells us that we are bigot if we want remigration or if we want to send back illegal migrants. So this pope, it seems like he's doing politics rather than a pope. Because you come to me, you tell me I have to be, and this is crazy, guys, you tell me I have to be respectable when it's about migrant, but I tell you something, I'm from Roma. I know very well Vatican City. Vatican City is an independent city inside Roma, Stefano, and this is crazy. Yeah. Outside the Vatican City, and I'm talking like 1 meter away, like this is Vatican City, this is Roma, there are migrants who are scamming people, harassing people, and demanding money from people.
Yeah.
Outside, they're doing all these criminal activities, and they're doing it undisturbed because our police either can do or doesn't want to do is not managing to stop what's happening. As soon as they step a single foot inside the Vatican, the security kick them out immediately. So you want to welcome them? Welcome them inside the Vatican. Welcome them inside the Vatican. You have millions, billions of euros. Welcome them inside the Vatican. We are having in Roma, they're destroying our city, but the Vatican, of course, is never going to tell you that. As soon as a migrant who is committing a fraud steps foot inside the Vatican, he's going to be kicked out. Instead, in Roma, it's happening every day, but he's telling us to welcome them. You can welcome them inside the Vatican. Make them sleep in the room next to yours instead of speaking.
And I think an important point to make is that, you know, I have a tendency to say some inflammatory things, and maybe we all do, right? But this is not said out of hate. I'm also Catholic, by the way. I agree with you 1,000% on. I don't agree with his remarks either. So that's 2 of us. This is not said out of hate for different groups of people, whether you're black, white, yellow, purple, Navi. It doesn't make a difference.
My best friend Fabian is from Cuba. He's black. I don't care about your skin color. He has a business activity. He works his ass off every day. It's not about skin color. It's about culture as well.
Of course.
Because my friend, I would die for my friend. If he needed something, I would die for him. It's one of my best friends, Fabian from Cuba. He's in Italy, and I dare you to try to kick him out. He deserves to be in Italy, not these animals who come to rape our women.
Absolutely. It's said out of love, though.
Of
love
course.
for our people,
It's
love for
our
Europe,
people.
love for the United States of America. I don't want that to get misconstrued when your case, or my case, but that almost perfectly segues into one of our last topics, and I think you're going to really like this, both of you. Tens of thousands of people rally in Europe over migration debate. This was put out 4 days ago. I saw Rome. It was explosive. I think it said like nearly 20,000 people were there, and the images are incredible. What do you think about the remigration movement, about them being in the streets, pushing for the migration debate? I mean, you're on the front lines. You're in Rome.
So, I'm going to tell you something. In Italy, we have 339,000 illegal migrants that are free to walk around my country undisturbed. 339,000 illegal migrants are committing 28% of total crimes in Italy. They represent 0.5/0.6% of the population, and they are committing 28% of total crime in Italy. They must be sent back. They must go away. They must be sent back to their country of origin. We are deciding not to do it.
Yeah.
When we decide not to do it, it's our fault, because we could drop immediately by 28%. We could remove this 28% of crimes in one day. And people say, no, but you can. Shut up! In one day, you could wipe out 28% of crimes who are being committed in Italy by people who should not be in Italy. 339,000 people, they represent 0.5% of total Italian population. They are committed 28% of crimes. They have to go back immediately. It's not even a discussion. This is not politics. This is a common sense. Recently, we had a tourist from Dominican Republic. She was kidnapped by a group of illegal migrants. She got raped for 72 hours. She managed to escape. She called the police. When the police went there, they found 20, 30 illegal migrants in an abandoned building. They have to go away. They have to go away. And this is said not out of hate. I love people. I love my people. I want them to be safe. I want my children to be safe. I want women in my country to be safe. You cannot continue to do this because you are destroying our countries. And Italy is way better off than others. Because you don't understand that in Italy we are like 20 years behind France. We are 20 years behind England, 20 years behind Brussels, Spain, that just legalized over 1 million people who came illegally. We are destroying Europe, guys. We are destroying Europe. There's not going to be a Europe left to defend if we continue this way. Yeah. And that's why the left did a good job with brainwashing people, because they think we are crazy for stating facts.
Absolutely, Steph.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, they're trying to debase the native populations of these countries with people that have nothing in common with them. That's essentially what it is. And look, 300,000 migrants is easy to get rid of, right? That's easy. In our country, how many illegal migrants do we have? We're looking at upwards of 50 million illegal migrants in the country. Higher. We're looking at what are we looking at right now?
Greg Bavino says it could be higher than 100 million.
Yeah, he's saying it could be higher than 100 million. It could be, let's call it 80 million, right? 80 million illegal migrants in our country that we're going to have to ship out of here.
Yeah.
Right? And the only thing that's stopping us from doing that is the political will necessary. President Trump won in 2024 on mass deportations. That is how he won. We need the political will necessary to get these people out of the country. Greg Bavino, who's a patriot who we were happy to see at the Remigration Summit, he was given a hero's welcome. He said himself, he goes, if Europe needs help, I'll come over here, I'll don the overcoat, and I will help get rid of these migrants. And Lorenzo is absolutely right. The United States cannot wait to become Europe. We cannot. We need to save ourselves before we become Europe. Amnesty will not solve this. Nothing will solve this other than the complete deportation of these people. And also, this may be a little controversial, but we need to think about deporting people that may even be citizens of the country.
Amen.
If they do not assimilate to our culture. They must assimilate to American culture. And there's going to be plenty of leftists out there that are going to hear that and they're going to laugh. And they're going to say, oh, well, how are we going to denaturalize these people? What even is American culture? There is an American culture that is loud and proud. And when you go to Europe, they know it. They understand American culture. Maybe I would even argue that in Europe, when they see us, they understand us a little better than most leftists see us that are citizens of the United States. So we need to understand that this is mass migration is violence. It is violence towards the people that are the most vulnerable. If we don't do something about it now, we are going to end up like Europe. We're going to end up like the UK.
Stefano, you are absolutely right. Remigration is not an act of hate, but is an act of love of people inside your country.
Amen.
I tell you who should be sent back. All illegal aliens in our territory should be sent back. All migrants that migrated to our country illegally and then now are, thanks to our woke government, legal on our soil and are not assimilating and are not working and are committing crime should go back.
Afuera.
All people that have a double citizenship who commit a crime should be revoked their citizenship and go back. We recently had a terrorist attack in Modena. People don't want to call it a terrorist attack. This guy basically, he sent hateful messages against Christians. He said, you bastard, I'm gonna burn you and the cross of your God. He did a terrorist attack. He drove the car into a crowd. 2 women lost their legs. The left is trying to say he was just crazy. Of course, that's what they do. This is the same loophole they use every time. He has double citizenship. He has to be sent back to his country. For a serious crime, your citizenship should be revoked. If you don't assimilate, you should go back. So, all illegal aliens, all people who come here legally and are committing crimes and are not assimilating should go back to their country of origin. If you migrate from Nigeria to Italy, we don't want the criminal that are coming. We want doctors. Do you want to import doctors? Would you be happy if 1,000 doctors from Nigeria that are going to help you fight the cancer are coming? I would be happy. I wouldn't be happy.
Keep it so real. I'm not letting them in.
We're already getting the doctors, lawyers, and
America
engineers.
is closed.
Okay,
America's closed.
I tell you something. I would be happy if 1,000 people from Africa, doctors, were to come to Europe to help and cure our people. I wouldn't be happy with 1,000 people from Africa entering to Europe and doing what they're doing. So raping, stabbing, selling drugs. That's not okay.
That's why I'm so optimistic. And I'll be honest, in the past, I wasn't. In the past, I was a panicking, right? I'm so optimistic about President Trump because for the 6th executive month in a row, the only asylum seeker he's allowed in have been white Afrikaners, European originating Afrikaners, so basically just white Afrikaners. And I believe, am I correct about that?
Yeah, you're 100% correct about that. Can I just add something in here?
Totally.
Because I think that what we're seeing now is the clash of civilizations. We are seeing the Muslim world and the Western world clash. And I truly believe in my heart that the Western world will come out on top. And I think there's one reason why, is because of our faith in Jesus Christ. I think that is the reason why we are going to come out on top. There have been plenty of men that have wanted to be God, but there's been only one God that has made himself man, who willingly took the cross for our sins, who willingly stepped up and said, it's done. I'll do it. The West, in this Christian vein, will be successful because we truly do have God on our side. When they talk about the Prophet Muhammad claiming that, look, he's truly the prophet of God. Look how many great victories he won. Christ won not a single earthly victory. He did not command an army. He commanded 12 apostles and some more, but the 12 apostles that he had learning from him, teaching that he was teaching. He did not command earthly victories. He had one battle, and that was the battle of life over death. And he defeated death when he took the cross, when he took on the cross. And there was a great sermon from my priest that I recollect to on Lazarus Saturday when he talks about Christ saying, Lazarus, come out. And he says that the tomb is warm and the tomb is comfy even. And when you hear the voice of Christ saying, Lazarus, come out. That could be any single one of us who are living in sin that must come out, right? And that's not to me to say that I'm a saint or that I don't have my wrongs. Of course I do. But I think collectively, as the West, we must hear the voice of Christ saying, Lazarus, come out. West, come out. Find yourself again. Find who you are again. The only way we will win this victory is by total and complete submission to Christ. Once we do that, once we rededicate the West back to Christ, back to our most holy lady, the Theotokos, the Virgin Mary, then we can begin to win these victories. Then we will have right on our side. But until then, we have an enemy that is zealous in their faith, and we have become lukewarm. We cannot become lukewarm in our faith anymore. We must be completely and totally devoted to what made the West, and that is Christianity.
It's very fair. It's very fair. I have two more topics on here, and I feel like it does wrap back around better to include this one. In Belfast, we talked about this on Sunday. We do have Gregory Bavino, Stefano Forte, and other guests joining the Remigration Summit, but I do want to touch on the Belfast before we do anything else. I'm reading here from, you're going to love this, and that's definitely irony, from The Guardian. I know. I had to pick the best one. I'm sorry. I had to pick the best one.
The Guardian loves me.
I'm not kidding, my man. I'm not kidding, Stefano. Riots and racism. Why is the United Kingdom burning? Daniel, I believe it's Boffey, chief reporter. Daniel, poor job already, man. Poor job already.
Yeah.
So the claims of, as a matter of fact, as you said before, claims of a two-tier policing and uncontrolled immigration, may not be, guys, I'm blind, born out of the facts, but has not stopped them being played up for political ends. Basically what they're saying is the attempted beheading of the Irishman, and I believe it was Belfast as well, is being played up for political points.
Northern Ireland. This is not
Northern Ireland.
Yeah.
Oh yes, Northern Ireland. So
it's part of the UK.
It is.
There's going to be a lot of Irish people very angry at you. No, well, you said no. Well,
I said Belfast. I messed the city up. I'm sorry, Southern Ireland folks. Yeah, I'm Polish.
You just
and
took a
Italian,
position.
Guys. I just took a position. I'm Polish and Italian. Okay, but no, we have a two-tiered policing system. That's true. Okay, uncontrolled immigration. That's absolutely true. I couldn't even delineate what a Sikh and a Islamist were before. Right. What do we think about how do we stop this? Are the riots justifiable? The violence obviously is not justifiable. Is the anger just justifiable? Does the anger make sense? Should we have that anger?
Yeah, let me just say something very quickly. You keep saying that you're Italian and Polish. I don't believe the Polish thing at all, considering you look like exactly what a Roman centurion under Julius Caesar would look like. You are what conquered the Gauls. In Gaul, you look exactly like somebody has to put an AI.
That's me.
Somebody needs to put an AI thing of you in a Roman centurion's outfit. You have the height for it too. Anyway, what you're bringing up now, yes, the anger is completely and totally justified. Do we like violence? We do not like violence. We do not condone violence.
Peacefully and patriotically.
Peacefully and patriotically, as our president said. But these people feel like they're not being heard. These people feel like they're not being heard. These people feel like they have no other outlet. Who do they vote for in order for this to stop? Mm-hmm. And this is a very big issue. It's like, what party is going to have the political will necessary to mass deport the people that need to go home? Mm-hmm. The people want it. They're yelling for it. And yet the government won't do what the people want, right? So, look, we saw what happened in Minnesota. We saw what happened in plenty of these other places where essentially ICE was like, this is too much, right? And leaders didn't have the political will necessary to do what they needed to do. So this is why people are so angry, is because there's no party that's claiming that they're going to get rid of these people other than Restore and Reform, right? Restore and Reform are the only two parties. And I think in the next round of elections, the woke Labor Party is in for a real reckoning.
Millions must go. That's what Roberto Lowe said. Millions.
Yes, millions.
Aim high, vote low. I love it.
Yeah.
Millions got to go. Well, listen, one final question before we wrap this.
Yes.
I never ask people this. I probably should begin asking it. Where can we find you on social media, Stefano?
You could find me at Stefano L Forte on Instagram, and you could also find me at Stefano L Forte on X as well.
Very easy. Lorenzo, where can we find you?
Caccialupi _ Lorenzo.
Spell that for the people.
Very CACCIALUPI _ LORENZO. My spelling is what it is.
I need you to follow Stefano Forte on X, on Instagram. I need you to follow Lorenzo on Instagram. You have X too?
I recently started it. Yes.
And X. What's your X, Lorenzo?
I don't Lorenzo something. I don't remember.
Follow him on X anyway. My name is MarioNicoletto, and for little old me, all I want you to follow is NYYRC _campaigns to catch up with all of our campaign activities from Staten Island all the way to the Bronx. We are campaigning everywhere. Thank you so much for watching our exclusive NYYRC interview. Thank you so much to Stefano and to Lorenzo for joining us. Back to you.